Hi everyone, I will be discussing one of the most important roles in a table tennis, the alternation of service. This role is set by International Table Tennis Federation, which governs the sport worldwide, and it's also enforced locally here in Philippines. By the Philippines Table Tennis Federation, the goal of this presentation is to make sure we all understand exactly how service rotation works, whether we're playing singles or doubles. First, let's define what we mean by alternation for service. Simply put, it's the set of rules that tells us who gets to serve next, how long they serve for, and where they need to stand when serving. Serving can give a slight advantage, so this rule makes sure that advantage is shared equally between players or teams. Whether you're playing one-on-one or we call singles or with a partner, we call doubles. These rules apply, though there are differences we'll cover later. Let's start with the single matches. Before the game begins, we decide who serve first, usually by flipping coins, drawing lots, or even just asking the opponent what they prefer. The winner can choose to serve, receive, or pick which side of the table they want to play on. Once the game starts, the server gets to serve 2 points in a row. After these 2 points, the other player takes over as server for their points, and we keep switching back and forth like this until the game ends. Also, when the leading player reaches 5 points, we switch end of the table. This is to make sure neither player has an unfair edge from things like lighting, sun coming through a window, or even the way the floor is laid out. If the score gets tied at 10 by 10, we switch ends after every single points instead. Doubles is a bit more complex because we have teams of two. First, team still alternate serving every 2 points, just like singles. But within each team, players have to take turns. You can't have the same person serving twice in a row, and you also have to take turns receiving. There's also a position rule. The server must stand on the right half of their side of the table and hit the ball so it lands on the opponent's right half. This makes sure both players on the receiving teams get a chance to play the ball. The next server is always the player who was receiving the last serve from the other team. The rule of switching end is exactly the same as singles. If someone serves out of turn, the wrong person receives or the ball lands on the wrong half, that's the fault, and the other team gets the point. Now, what happens when the score is tied at 10 by 10? We call this Dios. This is the main exception to the 2 points rule. In a single, instead of serving 2 points in a row, player takes turn serving 1 point each. We keep doing this until one player gets ahead by 2 points, like if mo 12 to 12 ang score sa pikas and sa pikas is 10, or 13 sa pikas and the other team is 11. In doubles, teams still alternate 1 point at a time, and whoever was serving for the team when Dios started keeps serving for all the team's turn until the Dios ends. The order was established before Dios started stays at the same. We just switch to 1 point per turn instead of two. Let's talk about the mistake that can happen with service alternation and what happens when they do. If you serve when it's not your turn, or if the wrong person on your team receives a serve, that's a fault, and the other side gets the point. In doubles, if you serve the left half instead of the right, that's also a fault with the same penalty. The only exception is if we forget to switch end when we're supposed to. If we catch it later, we just switch end right away and no points are taken away. We just fix it and keep playing.